And I am very excited about getting the opportunity to make this video. I'm going to welcome you to my Introduction to Acoustic Music Mandolin course. I'm not going to get say too much about the history of the mandolin, but I want to give you at least a short background. It's a part of the lute family, and its origin is in Europe, in what we would carelessly call classical music, I guess. But if you look at the different instruments, there are three different main types of mandolin. There is the Neapolitan or Italian bowl-back mandolin with this kind of bowl back, and then there is an arch top, or a card top. This is what that is, and it's common in American music, in like traditional old-timey music and bluegrass, and then there's what's called a flat top mandolin. It's not identified with a particular type of music, but you see it here and there. You know, it's I guess it's an affordable, or has been an affordable alternative to the arch top and the bowl back. You don't really see them as much, but so those are the three types of mandolin, and whichever you happen to own, that doesn't really matter. What we're doing here is going to work as well on either kind of mandolin. The mandolin in the United States has an interesting history. It started with a fad that lasted from the turn of the 20th century up to like the mid-20s, maybe into the 30s, where there was a lot of popular mandolin orchestras. Every city in the United States had its own mandolin orchestra, and of course that's pretty unusual now. I know that there is one in Atlanta. That's about the only one I can think of right now. But back then you could see it in mass cultural. You could see it in movies like Dave Apollon and his band, his Filipino Boyfriends. That's what they were called. They performed in movies, and so mandolin was fairly well known. These days, of course, it's not the case, although it's starting to come back with numerous contemporary bands using mandolin. I think Mumford and Son is one of them. And, anyway, as far as teaching the instrument, there are a few things that I would like to mention before we get into the music part of it. Did you want to stop there? before we start, I would like to just mention a few things about holding the mandolin. I'm using this strap here. That way I can just free up my left hand to use it for actual playing instead of holding the instrument. There doesn't have to be anything fancy. Any old guitar strap or mandolin strap would use would work. I've seen, you know, just cheap strings, shoestrings, whatever you're comfortable with and feel like you want to spend as far as money goes on that. Then the next thing is of course the pick. The pick is used to pluck the string, and if you ask your 10 favorite mandolin players how to hold the pick, you're going to get 10 different answers. So I'm going to just show you that this is how I hold the pick between my thumb and my index finger. And everybody is built different. Everybody's hand are going to be a little bit different. So I think you just need to experiment a little bit and see what's comfortable, and get just some kind of a comfortable way of holding it. What is extremely important though is that you hold it on, you grab onto the pick with a relaxed grip, so you don't, you know, really get like a dead man's grip. So you get stuck between the strings like that. So just try to keep it pretty loose. If you feel like you're going to drop it, and sometimes we get nervous, you know, about dropping the pick, which is just, it can be kind of disastrous, you know. You might want to just take a little violin rosin and just take a little bit of violin rosin and crush it between your fingers like this, and that will create a little glue effect here that will keep your pick in place. But I can't emphasize strongly enough how important it is to play with a relaxed grip. Okay, as far as the left hand goes, actually, before we go into the left hand, let's talk a little bit about the strings here, and really what we're dealing with here. As you can see, they are, instead of there are two strings in place of one, where you have like one E string, one A string, one D string, and one G string on the violin. Now you have here pairs, so you got two E strings, two A strings. It's two of each string, and that's to give the mandolin a little extra volume. It also makes it harder to keep it in tune, but the name of these strings are E, A, D, and G. So again, the first string is E, the second string is A, third string is D, and the fourth string is G. Okay, so like with every new field of specialty or study, we're going to get into a bunch of new expressions and terminology. And I'm going to introduce them as we go and try to explain what they mean. I'm going to first talk about open strings. Open strings means that term means that there is no finger involved in the plucking of the string. No, as far as the left hand goes, just no fingers down. Now, what we do here now is we're shortening the length of the string and making the pitch higher. We're shortening the string. So here's the initial distance between the nut and the bridge. And now pressing down the fingers, now we're shortening it, and then from here. So now we end up all the way up here on the 12th fret, and we got half the length of the string, so the pitch goes up. And pitch refers to the frequency of the note, or the tone. So this is a 440 A. So this will be twice that, to 880. Okay, so before we do anything else, I'm going to have us learn the A major scale. And you start with the open string, A, then you press down your index finger on this fret here, the 2nd fret. Fret refers to this space here, so this will be the 2nd fret, this will be the 4th fret, the 5th fret, so forth and so on. The word fret also refers to this actual metal bar here, but when I refer to frets right now, it's going to be referring to the actual space here. So instead of saying put your finger down in the 1st or the 2nd space, I'm going to say press your finger or put your finger down in the 2nd, on the 2nd fret. Okay, so the A major scale goes like this: the do, re, mi, string of notes that most of us have heard at some point in our life. Okay, so it's got the same order of notes as the notes have the same order as the alphabet. So the first note is A. Press down the finger on the 2nd fret. That's B. Here we've got C, C sharp, actually. And then press down the 3rd finger, the ring finger, on the 5th fret. Gives you D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. Now, it's very important that we develop this habit early on, that we leave our fingers down on the fretboard as we ascend, instead of going like this. That's a very good habit for many different reasons, and we'll get into those reasons later on. But for right now, just to try to make an effort to leave the fingers down. So again, it's A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp. Okay. The first tune I wanted to show you today is an old-time fiddle standard number called Bowling Cabbage Down. And if I'll just play through the first half of it, then we'll break it down and analyze it a little bit. So we're going to start on the 4th fret, and to get there, just play open, press down your 1st finger here, 2nd fret, and then your middle finger on the 4th fret. Okay, so that now we're at the starting point, so now we can start playing.